Hello, welcome to True Crime Tuesday. It's your girl Chisala, and today we're covering a case from Mali, which I assume is in West Africa. I should probably have googled that by now. But anyway, if you're new here, please like and subscribe. Fortunately, today our case is not solved yet, which is pretty scary. And I got this from Reddit r/true crime, so that's where I researched this whole topic from. So if you're interested, Reddit is very interesting. It's a very interesting place to gather information. Let's get into the video. So to start with, facts about Mali. So Mali is a country in the continent of Africa. Africa is a continent. And it has a population, according to the 2020 census, it has a population of 20.5 million people, which is a lot of people. I mean, for an African country, it's not a very big country. And also the capital of it is Bamako. Disclaimer. I mean, no disrespect to any of the victims in the stories. I simply just researched and now I'm delivering the information to you in story format here on my channel. So this true crime happened in a city called Fana. It's a really small city south of Mali, and it's rather peaceful because parts of Mali, there's, Mali, first of all, there's poverty. It's a poverty-stricken country. It's a third world country in Africa. There's so many terrorist attacks and all this, it's one of those countries where like they have coups and they have all this civil unrest, which unfortunately we have nations like that in Africa. I mean, you could just tell like they have civil unrest because just now, like 2 years ago, August 18th, 2020, they had a coup, which if you don't understand what a coup is, you can watch one of my other videos. A coup is simply when the military overtakes the government. So you can basically just imagine how violent coups get. So since this story is not really about one particular person, let's talk about Fana for a bit. Fana is, as I mentioned earlier, South Sudan. And it has a population of 25,631 people. It's generally just a very unremarkable place. So today we're going to talk about the Fauna Beheadings. So it is believed like since 2018, there were like beheadings in the Fana town. Fana is a town. That's a cute name for a town. It's believed that these serial killings were performed either by one serial killer or like a group of people, which I believe is a group because let's talk about the MO. So the MO of these people was let me just say serial killer, it would be much easier. So the MO of this person, they used to behead people. Beheading, if you don't know what beheading is, gosh, must I explain? Head off. Really gruesome. So the MO of these killer, they beheaded the people, the victims, and what happened is at the crime scene there was no blood that would be found, barely any blood, and they would put the head next to the body. They would place the head next to the body. No other body parts were missing apart from the head. No other body parts were cut off apart from the head. So you would wonder what the motive is. We'll get into that later. And also the police believe that the killers either killed with a machete or an axe. Because what else? You're not using a knife, are you? Now, in relation to no blood being found at the crime scene, the police believe it's either ritualistic, whereby the killer collected the blood, or it could be that the person was killed someplace else, because I feel like beheading somebody could be messy because we have 4 giant vessels running on the side of our necks. So that could be a lot of blood because it's from the heart and to the heart, and that's messy. So I'm pretty sure they were killed somewhere else. Another thing that's interesting to mention about the MO is that the victims had absolutely no connection to each other. Like there was no connection that could be made. They killed housewives, like former soldiers, caretakers. Also children were not spared because there was a case of a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old being beheaded, which, I mean, what could be the motive? It's mind-boggling. It is worth mentioning that also 6 or 10 times during the killings, a black vehicle was found near the crime scene. Now I'm thinking, was it seen or was it just found there? Because shouldn't we not investigate who that vehicle belongs to? Damn. Let's talk about some of the notable killings. So the killing of Diara, who's a 5-year-old albino. So she was also found beheaded and the head was laid next to the body. Now, before this, the police had not thought these murders were connected at all. I think they had other cases, but then they saw this and were like, wait, there's a pattern here. Do you understand what I mean? And let me tell you, this killing of Diarra brought like civil unrest. Like, people demonstrated, they protested, and also Salif Keita, who's a pop star in Mali, came out and spoke, and they wanted justice for the child, because it was a very popularized killing, because of course this child is albino. And let me tell you, in Africa, and I think everywhere in the world, but let's talk about Africa, something that I am familiar with, something that I know. In Africa, like, albinos, apparently, could be everywhere in the world, are killed for their body parts, either for ritualistic killings, or I do not know what it is for the black market. But the UN estimated like an arm of an albino is worth at least $2,000, and a full body $75,000. So it could be black market motivated. But then the body was found and it wasn't taken. The kid was kidnapped and beheaded, but the body was still intact. No blood though. But it's interesting, because why did you kill the child? And yeah, there's a lot of superstitions that albino skin or albino people have supernatural powers. Their parts have supernatural powers. So there's that. Then again, do not forget that this child's body was still intact apart from the beheading, and the head was found next to the body. So what? Another notable kill was Bakari Sangare. I hope I'm not butchering this name. He was the 8th victim. And what happened was his brother Bodo Sangare, I don't know, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Bodo Sangare found him on the 6th of June 2020 in his house. And same MO, he was killed, he beheaded, head next to the body. Now, what else? When the police were called 40 minutes after the discovery, okay? And they closed up the crime scene and they investigated the crime scene. Now, what they found was blood drops and an iron pipe. And the blood drops led to tire marks of 2 motorcycles. So let's see. Now we have 2 killers. You see what I mean? Because one person performing all this, gruesome. Even just 2 people. So disturbed. But anyways, so let's get back to the blood. So what the police believed was, after conducting forensics, they believed that Sangare Bakari had actually fought his assailants, because the blood, I think, was not his. And so there was no blood also at the crime scene. There was no his blood. And also they found out with forensics that he had 3 blows to the head from the pipe. So believing that he was killed before he was beheaded, meaning the blood flow had stopped, so there won't be as much blood at the crime scene, if you know forensics like me. To add on and to show you that there was no actual victim type, Bakari had no kids and he was divorced. You get me? Then the next victim, in November 2020, was Baumasi. He had 4 kids and he was in his 50s. Bakari was like 41. So now we're thinking. So, of course, the police were conducting their investigations, as they should. Now, the people in charge of the investigation was the prosecutor of Bamako. His name was, I don't know how to butcher, so I'm going to read it, Baubaka Daria. And also another person with him, working with him, who was the lead investigator, was somebody called Lamine Diakete, who was a gendarmerie commander. Guys, wow. These 2 lead investigators ruled out all forms of theories that were placed about this case. Now, theory number 1 was terrorism. They ruled this out quickly because they were like, south of Mali is relatively peaceful. There is no civil unrest. So this was ruled out. It just wasn't making sense. Terrorism, finances. It didn't make sense because they killed a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and it just, if you see where Bakari Sangare lived, it doesn't really say wealth. So you're just thinking, that can't be the motive. That was definitely not the motive. Then the other thing, revenge. Now, revenge was also ruled out because 5-year-old and 2-year-old, you get me? Then the other one was ritualistic, but then that also was hard to have as a solid theory because, I mean, the body parts were all intact. Just the head was beheaded and it was placed right there. It was always found there. So it begs the question, why? Especially the body of the albino. Everything was intact. So it's like, you get me? You feel me? So what do people do when in a small town, lots of violence. People are like, they actually started calling it a slaughterhouse, a human slaughterhouse, Fana. So there was lots of riots, looting, like in late 2018, because they're like, guys, so many people have died. What is going on? And the police, they could not do anything. They tried to create Fana police station, but the people were like, this is not enough. We need more. But the police were like, we can't do anything because we're not Europe or the US where we have advanced technology with DNA forensics and all this, and we can investigate. We don't have that, which is the problem in Africa. It's a real serious problem because most people just get away with murder and get away with all this stuff. I mean, the only thing that the Fana police station said they can handle are religious and ethnic feuds, because that is the only thing that they have like capacity to be able to handle. Like everything else was out of their hands. They had no forensics or DNA. Understandable, but like, gosh, they actually caught like 11 people, 11 suspects. They arrested them and they were still arrested, and they've been arrested and they stay arrested, but they're just suspects. But still the killings continued, meaning none of the 11 people that have been arrested are it. Or maybe we could have a copycat. I mean, it's sad for a small town because everybody was scared of going out, scared if a family member doesn't answer the phone, if a family member is just, of course, this brings such unrest. And people are suspecting each other. Like, imagine looking at your neighbor like, you could be it. I don't trust you. By late 2018, 11 people had been arrested. I have just said that in suspicion of being the murderers. But then again, in August, on the 2nd of August, a teenager who's 18 years old was killed. Same memo. And this is 2020, August 2020. Did I mention it's August 2020? And so you beg the question. Is that the correct phrase? Anyways. How? Do we have a copycat killer, or you feel me? And the 18-year-old who was killed was, the name is hard, guys. Aguibao Bagayoko. But this time there was much more blood at his crime scene. So I call copycat killer because the killer obviously didn't know what to do with the blood. They were like, wait, yo. But I'm thinking, why would you copy a killing? Get your life together, maybe. So by August 28th, the youth had formed a movement called Troupe c'est Troupe, which I will write the translation in French. Troupe, I think means very or more, or maybe is it enough? Enough is enough. Troupe c'est Troupe. Something in those lines. I'll Google Translate. I knew a bit of French, but I forgot. So they formed this group in August 2020. And this group was like a watch group, and also a group to lobby and to also go to the police and press them, because that's how it is with most police forces. You need to like be on their neck. Can you solve this? Can you look at this? Da, 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 da. So yeah, thank God Troupe c'est Troupe was formed. But then by September 2021, it was like established that the killer had actually claimed 10 victims in total. And he could still be out there, and unfortunately for the Fana people, and I really hope that they find him, to be honest. And if they do, it's a call for the death penalty, because we're not breathing the same oxygen, sir, after you've been caught. No. No. So Mali's last execution was in 1980. So they could actually just give him the life sentence. But I would petition for the death penalty, because you've taken too many lives. There's no way you can be walking around. Even just taking one life, there's no way you can be walking around like a free man and just being in prison and enjoying tax, paying people's things. No. So that's today's story. I really hope you enjoyed it. I was wearing my glasses on top. My classmates were telling me that I don't look good with glasses. Yeah, I look like a different person. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed my video today, and like and subscribe for more true crime in story format with your favorite true crime baddie. I'm starting to call myself that. Anyways, ow! I folded my legs and how they hurt. Like and subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. This hair has been standing up the whole time.